If I take a look at my project plans, the top is comprised of 3 pieces, 1 top center and 2 top leaf pieces. On the board that I've been working on, I want to get each of these 3 pieces out of that board. And when I glued this together, I made sure that the grain pattern matched up as best as I could. Because of this, once I cut my 3 pieces, I don't want to mess up the grain pattern. So I'm going to take some chalk and I'm going to draw the top on my workpiece, just as a visual reference. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to give me a visual idea as I'm cutting my pieces to make sure I don't mix them up in these first stages. Now, although I have 2 good jointed edges, I did just glue this top up and the clamp was sitting on the edge. So there's a good chance that my edge has been marred by the clamp. I'm going to run the edge 1 time through the joiner before moving on to the table saw. Now if I take a look at my project piece, my chalk line indicates that the first piece I will be cutting is the leaf. If I look at the schematic tells me that my first rip cut will be 8 inches wide. So this will then yield me that 8-inch wide top leaf. However, when I run this through the table saw, I will be left with a mill marked edge. So I'm going to set the table saw to 8 1/16 inches, which will give me a little bit extra material to joint off. And with my good, clean, jointed edge up against the fence, I can make my cut. What I am left with is my first leaf with a good, clean, jointed edge and a mill-marked edge. I am also left with my workpiece that has a mill-marked edge and a clamp marred edge. Before I continue, I'm going to run both of my mill-marked edges through the joiner to clean those up. Taking a look at my remaining piece, my top center gets cut next. And taking a look at the schematic, my top center is 9 inches wide. I'm going to be setting the fence to 9 1/16, which will give me an additional 1/16 to joint off. And with my good, clean, jointed edge up against the fence, I can make my cut. What I am left with is my top center piece that has 1 good, clean, jointed edge and 1 mill-marked edge from the table saw. I also have my remaining workpiece with 1 table sawed edge and 1 clamp marred edge. Before I continue, I'm going to clean up both of the mill-marked edges on the joiner. The last piece to be cut then is my additional top leaf piece. The schematic again shows that this piece is 8 inches wide, so I will be setting the table saw to 8 1/16 and completing my cut. And again, what I am left with is 1 good, clean, jointed edge and 1 mill-marked edge, for which I need to use the jointer to clean up my last mill-marked edge. If I line up all of my boards back in the original order, I can see that my chalk lines line up, as well as my glue joint numbering. And all of the seams turned out pretty well also. I have 3 pieces for my top. I have 2 of my leaf pieces and my top center. The 2 leaf pieces are 8 inches wide. My top center is 9 inches wide. Just so I don't get these pieces mixed up down the road, I'm going to label the end grain so I know the orientation of all of my 3 pieces. Top center, I have a left leaf and a right leaf.